fastball first pitch. If you get that fastball first pitch, you're jumping all over it. If he throws you a curveball, you take it. Unless he hangs it.
0-1 to Baerga. 2 on, nobody out here in the third. Up the middle, off the pitcher's leg. The second baseman Ledesma made a fine recovery. That ball had base hit written all over it until it hit the left foot of Mike White, a fielder's choice for Baerga.
And this ball really hit hard. It was a base hit all the way until it hit him on the leg, and they almost get the double play.
That was that hanger you were talking about, Keith.
Right. He got it up in the strike zone on the outer half. It seems like Carlos made the adjustments after the first at bat. He saw his curveball, a couple of nasty curveballs, and he really comes back the second time. He has nothing to get him out with.
White appears to be all right. That's what a lot of young hitters just refuse to do. I mean, how you can go up there and without an idea. I mean, you're going to take your offers in a game, but at least to have an idea and to adjust from one at bat to the other, because you know darn good and well the other team's doing that.
Right. It's almost like war. You go into a game knowing the pitcher and you have a strategy. But then as the game progresses, you may have to change your tactics as how good the pitcher is that day. He may have a good breaking ball that day and a so-so fastball. He may have them both. He may have nothing.
Now the Mets have something. It's 2-0 New York with 1 out, runners on at the corners. Butch Husky walked his first time up, and the fastball is outside. 1-0 to Husky. Something to keep in mind, Butch Husky has grounded into 10 double plays this year. In order to stay out of that double play, Bobby Valentine may move Baerga with a favorable count. Fastball on the corner, 1-1. Don't normally do that with a big guy and with a big swing like Husky has, but you're a better hitter. If you get the pitch, you're a better hitter when you're hitting and running, because you don't try to do too much with it.
Exactly, and it forces you to swing. You'd be surprised what you can hit.
1 ball, 2 strikes now to Husky.
No, I wouldn't put the hit and run sign on for Ralph Kiner. Never. I'd let Ralph wail.
One thing I learned very early in my career was to know what was coming, or at least have an idea.
Have an idea. If you don't know the pitch, you know the area. You have an idea. Yeah, I mean, you can be fooled, you can be tricked.
Hank Greenberg came over to the Pirates in 1947 and taught me that, above all things, the most important thing in hitting. And when you go to the plate, have an idea.
Chop back toward the mound, barehanded by White. Piazza is tagged out by the catcher, DeFelice. 2 outs.
Well, in last night's ball game, Husky had 2 hits that were just about like the one he hit there. This time, the pitcher got to play at the plate.
Well, this pitch it beats a breaking ball away, it looks like. He tends to want to fly out and get his fanny out. Doesn't stay in. And they always, what I've seen of Butch, they pitch him inside. Pitcher made a great play here, barehanded. Piazza does the right thing, trying to get in a rundown to get the runners to second and third. Well, actually, it didn't quite do it, but it was just a great play by the pitcher and the catcher.
Rich Becker now the batter, and the curveball's in there, strike 1. So the Mets had runners on at first and second in this inning. Baerga scorched one through the middle and hit the foot of White, and that was a big play and a key to this inning so far. Inside, 1-1 to Becker. Rich, one of those 5 walks given up by White in the first inning. Change, left field. Mike Kelly over to make the play, and that'll do it for the Mets in the third. 2-0 New York after 3. Back after this from Amazon.com. Both starters, Rick White of the Devil Rays and Al Leiter of the Mets, have been in trouble. Rick White was almost out of the game in the first inning. He walked 5, walking in the only 2 runs of the ball game. We're in the top of the 4th. Along with Ralph Kiner and Keith Hernandez, I'm Tim McCarver on a glorious baseball day. And Paul Sorrento, the first baseman who struck out his first time up, is the hitter. Ball 1.
That was kind of an interesting setup. It looked like he threw his cutter, and Piazza set up inside.
Drilled into right field. Was an odd looking pitch. I think it was the same pitch. The second pitch, either a curveball or
it was like a slider to
flat. Yeah.
Hung right over the plate. Belt high there to be ripped.
Serrano playing in place of Fred McGriff. And the first pitch is the pitch right here with the catcher inside. And it's either cut or a slider. Now the same pitch back.
And he's hanging that one right there. And Serrano is a dead pull hitter. Pitch him power inside, bat off the plate and away.
Bobby Smith, the strikeout victim to end the first inning, fouls one off, 0-1.
Serrano playing first base and McGriff not playing. McGriff has hit 1 home run in his last 36 games.
7 on the year for Fred. This one chopped, and will it roll foul? Yes. Fine play by Alfonso. 0-2 now to Bobby Smith.
That's just another example of not only the defense, you know, making the plays in the field, but there's a lot of intelligence out on this infield too. The guys know how to play the game.
Well, he knows he has no chance to get the runner.
Nobody perhaps more intelligent from a baseball standpoint than that man right there. He is an icon in his native Venezuela.
He should be.
And he should very well be. .315 hitter last year. He knows how to play the game, as you said, Keith.
Probably the only thing lacking in his game is he doesn't have great speed. If he had great speed, holy cow, it'd just be, he would have everything, every aspect of the game.
Talk about instincts. And the 0-2 pitch outside to Smith. 1-2 to Bobby. Way outside. 2-2.
Getting back to McGriff, Ralph, you know, he's 6 for his last 36 at bats. Has 3 hits in the month of June, so he's slumping. He's giving him a day off.
Devil Rays with a bunch of guys like that. Bobby Smith 1 for his last 16. Make that 17. 1 out.
And of course, McGriff, one of the outstanding hitters, is going to be close to 400 home runs in his career. And at the tail end of his career at this point.
Wade Boggs 160 hits away from the magic 3,000. 2,840 hits. Fastball jammed near the dugout of the Devil Rays. It's 0-1 now to the left fielder Mike Kelly.
I talked to Wade before the game when they were warming up before their batting practice, and I said, Wade, what do you need, about 175 hits for 3,000? He goes, no, 160. I go, just like Pete Rose. He knew exactly.
You better believe it, baby.
Well, Boggs, of course, one of the great hitters. About a .330 lifetime average. 7 times in a row he had 200 hits in a season.
High 1-1. It was nice to read too that Wade Boggs was warmly greeted when he returned to Yankee Stadium when the Devil Rays played the Yankees there a week ago or last weekend.
Well, he should be. I mean, he was part of that championship team.
Yep.
He was precariously on the cliff there of being a player that would play his whole career and never be a World Series champion.
with the Red Sox.
He went from precariously on a cliff to precariously on that horse after the celebration.
It's a photo op.
2 balls, 1 strike to Kelly. Strike on the inside corner. 2-2 to Mike. Got him. 6 strikeouts for Leiter.
Catcher Mike DeFelice.
That makes Mike Kelly now 0 for 19 in June. That's no fun.
Bunch of Devil Rays that are free falling. Mentioned McGriff and then Bobby Smith and now Mike Kelly. Here's Mike DeFelice, who poked a triple down the right field line his first time up, his 2nd triple of the year, and the fastball is high, ball 1.
On a breaking ball away. So we'll see how they pitch him this time. Because he went that way naturally, and with power he drove the ball to right field. Let's see if they try to change the program here and pitch him in.
Fastball misses inside. 2 balls and no strikes to DeFelice. 2-0 Mets here in the top of the 4th inning. Paul Sorrento opened this inning with a double down the right field line, and then Leiter came back to get Bobby Smith and Mike Kelly on strikes. He has struck out 6 and walked 1. Just misses. 3-0 to DeFelice.
Well, if ever it's true now, Ralph, Tim, it's to win a division or win a championship, with expansion, you've got to beat up on the 2nd division clubs. You've got to beat these teams and play 500 against the better teams.
Outside corner, 3-1 to DeFelice.
The schedule certainly favors the Mets in the next couple of weeks. They go to Florida from here. Of course, Florida, the world's champions last year, but not the same team.
Then they go up for 3 in Montreal and come back home with Florida.
3-2 now to DeFelice.
So it's a 10-game span coming up, playing against really 2nd division teams, and you got to beat up on them. It's a great opportunity here.
Mets were on that roll. They had won 9 in a row. They go into Pittsburgh, a very tenacious, pesky type of Pittsburgh ball club. Pittsburgh won 3 in a row. 3 tough ball games, and then the Mets went to Boston and won 2 out of 3 there. And that got Bruce Frimming on the mask. Bruce is all right. Still 3-2 to DeFelice. There's a pro's pro right there. You talk about a guy who bears down. One of the better umpires that I've experienced in my 39 years.
Even when he first came up, he was one of the better umpires.
Really
and he's got a better attitude now. When he first came up, he was really grumpy.
Bruce can laugh now.
Right. We used to call him Napoleon.
I'll tell you, that's a tough business to be able to laugh at, an umpire's.
You didn't call him Napoleon to his face.
No, Bruce is one of the guys always said, "How's it going, Bruce?"
You call him Bruce to his face and Napoleon behind his back. Yeah.
Nice to see you.
House of Hamley.
Hit deep to left field. Gilkey is back and can't get to it. Off the top of the wall. Sorrento scores. DeFelice has a double, and it's now a 2-1 Met lead.
We got a double to right field. Now he turns on this one and hits. I can't tell the pitch there, but it looked like it was out over the plate. His hands are extended. So I'm sure it's a mistake, and as a hitter, you've got to jump on the mistakes. Piazza setting up outside. Fastball breaks right down the middle, belt high. you better jump on those.
DeFelice did, driving in run number 12 on the year. That was his third double. He has a double and a double and a triple today, and the fastball is in there to Kevin Stocker. 0-1 to the Devil Rays shortstop. Foul back. 0-2. It shows you how difficult that fastball in on the hands, that cutting, running fastball that we were talking about earlier, is on, and how tough it is to pick up because he keeps throwing it.
I almost want to, think I would classify. I know it's a cutter, but as a hitter, I would classify the way it breaks down as a slider.
More of a slider.
That would be my approach to that pitch, not a cutter.
Oh, he's down on that similar pitch. But the Devil Rays are on the board and out of water. 2-1 Mets. Back after this from Toyota. Two to 1 Mets, bottom of the fourth inning. And today's game is brought to you by Nobody Beats the Wiz, your total home entertainment center. And by your local Greater New York Toyota dealer. Toyota every day. A few tube steaks going very well today. Hot dogs. Get your hot dogs with mustard. You know what? Almost every major league team, they're sober cut. For instance, the Cardinals, and everybody knows what a Cardinal is. Everybody knows what a Yankee is, a Giant, a Dodger. They were trolley Dodgers back in Ebbets Field. But there may be some people who don't know what Devil Rays are. And Ray Ordonez leads it off here in the bottom of the fourth inning.
Now, Keith, he's leading to something here.
I'm all ears.
0-1.
He's had that research book out.
No, it was only a dictionary. Ordonez tapped to second baseman Aaron Ledesma his first time up. And he takes ball 1-1 to Ordonez. 2-1 Mets here in the fourth inning. It's part of the Manta Ray family, the Giant Ray family, but they're also devilfish. I didn't realize that. That looked like a splitter to Ray Ordonez. 1 ball, 2 strikes to Ray.
And also known as stingrays.
Stingrays, yep. I think they're a larger version of
the Manta is the largest. The Manta Ray is the largest version.
Yep. Okay.
I believe.
That could be right. No, that could be right. We thought we'd go to the dictionary. I mean, it's actually part of the octopus family. I didn't know that.
And they do sting.
Yes, they do. The sting of a stingray is at the base of the tail. I do know that for a fact.
Most people get stung that step on them in the shallow water.
Grounded toward third. Bobby Smith throws out Ordonez. 1 out here in the fourth inning. And we're going to go to Webster's. What is a Devil Ray? Well, a Devil Ray is resembling or befitting a devil. One of several extremely large rays and widely distributed in warm seas. And we're going to take it a step further as Leiter fouls one back.
We will have more useless information for you people out there as this game progresses.
There it is. The Rays meeting the Mets for the first time. 0-2 now to Leiter.
Actually, there's an area in the Cayman Islands. I'm a diver, and you go down and dive.
Stingray City.
Right. You go down there and feed them. Get some food around there, and it'll be 15, 20 of them all around you.
Grounded toward first, and it's a fair ball. The Leiter grounds out.
Third baseman.
There are 2 outs here in the fourth inning. And that'll bring up Edgardo Alfonzo 0 for 1, a strikeout and a walk, and a run scored.
And they are big. 2,000 pounds?
Oh, I would think so. Yeah, I would think so. Maybe if not that, 1,000 certainly. Can't tell. They're buoyant, right? Can't tell in the water.
Well, I ran into a bunch of manta rays one time out in a boat with John Martin, a former teammate out off of Stewart, and we thought they were dolphins, and then we came up on them in the boat, and there was around 10 of them just basking in the sun, and they had a wingspan, I would say, around 8 feet.
This one hit hard, line to Ledesma. He drops the ball and throws out Alfonso. But rubber game of 3. It is still 2-1 New York. We go to the 5th after this from Ford. Mets over the Devil Rays 2-1. They have been out hit 4-1. As a matter of fact, when they scored their 2 runs, there were no hits in that 5-walk first inning by the Devil Rays starter, Rick White. And he'll be leading it off here in the top of the 5th inning. Al Leiter has struck out 7 in 4 innings. And it's 0-1 to White.
How about those San Francisco Giants? 11 in a row they've won. They've taken over the Padres with a 1-game lead. Dusty Baker's just done a great job at that club.
Just thinking the same thing. Al Leiter has White fouled back, 1 and 2 strikes. That's after winning last year when nobody thought he would win. Manager of the league, manager of the year in the National League last year. Keep in mind the Giants won, what, 101 games back in 1993 and didn't win it. And White becomes the 8th strikeout victim here in the 5th inning, 1 away.
Growing up as a kid in the San Francisco Bay Area, Ralph and Tim, you remember this. They'd always were the bridesmaids to the Dodgers with Koufax and Drysdale. And geez, they had Marichal, Gaylord Perry, and Willie Mays, McCovey. They always finished in 2nd place for the Dodgers.
Except in 62. Except in 62.
Wills would get on, steal 2nd. Junior Gilliam would get him over. Willie Davis, Tommy Davis.
Scoring the sacrifice fly.
Right.
Of course, Marichal never won the Cy Young. And he was a great pitcher. Koufax a little bit better.
So was Gibson. Just a little bit better.
3 Hall of Famers, right?
Yeah, that's right. I mean, the year that Gibson had the 1.12 ERA, Marichal won 26 that year.
Right.
1968. As we look at our Nobody Beats the Wiz scoreboard, it's 2-0 to Randy Wynn, the right fielder, and Randy takes a strike. All the other action, with the exception of the Seattle-San Francisco game, is tonight in our Toyota American League scoreboard. All the American League games at night, or the interleague games, played.
And don't forget the Cubs.
Chicago Cubs. What a story. Kerry Wood, he lost last night to Brad Radke of the Minnesota Twins as Randy Wynn draws a base on balls. That's the 2nd time he's walked, and the 2nd walk given up by Al Leiter. That'll bring up Aaron Ledesma, the 2nd baseman.
Well, Al's going to have to pay close attention to this guy because he can steal bases. And it's a 2-1 ball game, as you know. This guy is a rookie and has had 3 seasons in the minor leagues. Has stolen over 100 bases.
He has 5 this year. Of course, as we said earlier, he was just brought up by the Marlins, and Ledesma pops it up. Could be playable, but finds the seats. 0-1 to Aaron Ledesma.
You're right, Ralph. The Cubs have made it a race over there with Houston, and I like Houston's ball club, and it's really a shame. If I'm the general manager, I would never have let Darryl Kyle go. I would let him go to Colorado, their ace.
One of the best curveballs you see invented in baseball today.
Inside, 1-1 to Ledesma.
And the Giants are one of 3 teams with over 40 wins. They're 41-24. And have a 1-game lead over San Diego.
Giants have just exploded over the last 6 weeks of the season. Orel Hershiser, what a year he has had.
He had a horrible April and was pitcher of the month of May.
5-0 in the month of May. Matter of fact, hitters are hitting less against Orel Hershiser than any other pitcher in the National League right now. 190. 2 balls and a strike to Ledesma. We'll see if Larry Rothschild hits and runs here. Two to 1 Mets. We're in the 5th. Absolutely beautiful here at Shea. Big crowd on hand. There goes the runner, and this one fouled away. 2-2 to Ledesma.
This is a tough pitch to hit and run with. You know, that down and in hard slider that breaks under your bat. It's hard to inside out that pitch if you want to hit it the other way. As it comes down and in, it's just hard to get when the ball's down, like breaking down like that. It's very difficult to inside out the opposite field with that.
If you're pulling it, it's hard to keep it fair.
The ball up in a strike zone is much easier to inside out the other way with on a hit and run.
That one was too high. 3-2 now to Ledesma. We're relatively sure Randy Wynn will be running. He did have a stolen base back in the 1st inning. He and Ledesma executing the double steal. And there he goes, and this one looped to right field. Husky on the run to make the play. The throw back to first, not in time. A nice play by Butch Husky. And there are 2 outs.
Actually, very alert base running on the part of Randy Wynn there. That was a play where you had to read that. I wasn't sure. You got a slow right fielder out there, and Butch Husky doesn't cover a lot of ground. Catches what he can get to, but this is a read here, and could have very easily been a double play.
You know, it looked like from that replay that Husky was cheating in. He took about a step and a half in as the ball was delivered. Butch makes a nice play out of that. And here's Quentin McCracken, who has struck out twice. Low, ball 1. Check out Butch Husky as the ball's being delivered with this shot right here. Husky's the far fielder.
Well, it's definitely running away from him. You know, once Butch gets going, he's a lot faster than he looks. Just a matter of getting him out of the gate.
Ground ball towards second. Easy play for Baerga. And he throws to Ordonez covering for the 3rd out after 4.5. Midway of a 9-inning game. It's 2-1 New York. Back after this from Omni Point. 2-1 Mets here in the bottom of the 5th inning. A sun-splashed crowd here at Shea. And let's take a look at our new Dodge quiz. Now, we're ganging up on you folks because there are 3 of us here today. Which current manager was born in France, site of the World Cup that began today in Saint Denis, Brazil versus Scotland? Current Major League manager who was born in France. Of course, France, the site of the World Cup that begins today and actually began today in Saint Denis. Bernard Gilkey leads it off here in the bottom of the 5th inning.
And Brazil, the favorite.
Brazil's the favorite?
I believe so, yes. I have some European friends that in the city of New York, so cosmopolitan. They say that Brazil, head and shoulders, has the best team above everybody else.
0-2 now to Gilkey. Well, why is soccer so popular in this country, Ralph?
You're now gonna get all kinds of mail if I answer that question.
Come on, Ralph, tell us.
Breaking ball down, 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Well, you know, the kids all play soccer here. And, of course, it's the most popular game in the world if you talk about Europeans.
Right.
What have you.
Why is that?
Folks, I'm going to have to say I don't know the answer. Well, actually, I think the reason why so many people play soccer here in the States is that they don't want to watch it. Now, you can't say that about Europe or South America.
That's true. That's true.
Or any of the other countries. It is the most popular game.
Well, I mean, as this one grounded back to White, he throws out Gilkey, 1 out here in the 5th inning. I mean, I'm kind of kidding about that, but these are some of the charges that have been leveled toward baseball. Not only recently, but back in the early 70s before the 75 World Series, Red Sox and Cincinnati Reds, as Piazza steps up and gets his big hand, of course.
I think one of the reasons why there's not as empty Little League fields now and not enough kids playing baseball today is because of the advent of soccer. Because a lot of kids find out they play it at a very young age, so around 10, and they kind of lose interest in soccer, the American kids. And it's taking away from them playing baseball. I mean, we're not a European country, and our big three is football, basketball, and baseball. So I think soccer has kind of hurt the game here in America.
Well, one of the things about soccer is that it's very inexpensive to play.
Right.
Baseball, you got to have bats and balls and uniforms and what have you. Soccer, you need a ball, and that's it.
Breaking ball, popped up. This is not a routine play on a day like today. A nice play by Bobby Smith to retire Piazza. There's a nasty glare here at Shea, and like at Candlestick Park in San Francisco, nothing is routine. John Olerud, the batter, with 2 out and nobody on here in the 5th. Mets up 2-1. I think it's interesting in that almost any place else in the world, athletes are trained with their feet in soccer. In this country, you're trained with your hands primarily, basketball and baseball being the 2 primary sports. Inside corner to Olerud, 0-1 to John.
So one thing about soccer, it's a great game to play. And as far as ability and being in shape and what have you. I played soccer when I was in the service, World War II.
You never told me that.
Yeah.
0-2 now to John Olerud.
Where were you stationed during the war?
Several places, but I played in San Luis Obispo in a pre-flight program that they had there. And my soccer instructor, when I went through St. Mary's, was Charlie Gehringer.
Fancy footwork around second base for Detroit.
He had the good feet there. Yeah.
That was my dad's idol as a kid growing up.
Speaking of footwork, looking at Ray Ordonez, nobody has fancier footwork. I think that gets lost in the shuffle. You were terrific defensive first baseman. Everybody in New York knows that, Keith, but your footwork, particularly for the left side of the infield, is very, very important. Aids the arm.
Absolutely. Well, first base, as a first baseman, you got to straddle the bag, you got to stretch. There's a lot of footwork going on.
2-2 to Olerud.
You don't see it as much as they used to, but at first base, they used to shift feet more. Now they plant one foot in the bag and catch it. But I always shift inside or outside.
I always used one, well, the fly ball there.
Olerud flies out. So it's still 2-1 New York. Back after this from nobody beats the Wiz.
I believe in that day.
Show up at Shea on Saturday, June 20th, as the Mets take on the Florida Marlins. All kids will take home a free baseball bat, courtesy of Pizza Hut.
The Bat Computer says order your tickets today.
Original Batman Adam West will be on hand at Shea with a Batmobile. For tickets, call 718-507-TIXX.
Good citizens of Gotham, show up at Shea.
Good ball game, but it didn't start out like that. Both starting pitchers pitching out of trouble in the first inning. Since that time, things have become rather settled here at Shea. It's 2-1 New York. The Mets scoring both of their runs in the first inning on 5 walks by the starter Rick White, as Paul Sorrento, who doubled his last time up and has scored the only run for the Devil Rays, takes strike 1, and then the fastball bites inside. 1-1.
I think this is where you got to pitch Sorrento. That's for sure. You got to pitch him inside.
Piazza setting up in there, but Leiter high with the fastball. 2-1. Sorrento is jammed. Piazza near the stands. Can't get to it. 2-2.
Don't get hurt down there. Boy.
Oh, that's an interesting thing. What if Mike Piazza, who turned down an $88 million contract, or 80+ million, whatever the number is, earlier in the year, gets a career-threatening injury while negotiating for a larger sum of money?
How about an automobile accident or something?
Yeah, sure.
You know, anything can happen.
Yeah. 3-2 now to Sorrento.
One of the things that ball clubs do, they take out insurance policies against those big contracts. Lenny Dykstra, for example, is not playing and hasn't played for a couple of years. And it's only going to cost the Phillies about $1 million to pay it off.
That's to pay off a $6 million contract this year. I read where Lenny was seriously considering giving it up now. And I think it was the Post this morning or yesterday morning. Bobby Smith, the batter. He has not caught up to a lighter fastball today. He struck out twice. 1 for his last 17. You know, it might be smart for Mike Piazza to take out insurance.
That's an idea. I mean, for a year.
Sure.
Until
Why
that,
not?
Till the ink's dry.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, if you're going to turn down $80 million, what's $500,000 to insure yourself, knowing that the least you're going to get is a lot of money. Let's just put it that way. A ton of money. 1-1 to Bobby Smith. I wonder if Mike's done that. I
have no idea.
Sort of like covering all your bases, so to speak.
That's right. One and one to Bobby Smith. 2-1. Mets over the Devil Rays, but Paul Sorrento on at first. It's 2 balls and a strike now to Bobby Smith. We're in the 6th inning.
Billy Hatcher, the first base coach, hit the home run off Jesse Orozco in game 6. Remember?
That's right.
We had the 1-run lead.
14th inning.
Yeah,
bottom of the 14th.
Yep. Made us go another 3 more innings before we won that game. Didn't get home to around 6 o'clock in the morning.
That was one of the great games of all time. You got the big hit in the 9th inning.
Just outside. It's a full count now to Bobby Smith. We're talking about 1986. Mike Scott was scheduled to pitch the next night. Both teams had traveled down to Houston without an off day, playing at 3 o'clock starting time, Houston time. And that series ended with a World Championship after the ball trickled through Bill Buckner's legs in game 6, and the Mets came back from a 3-0 deficit in game 7.
2 of the greatest games ever played.
Man.
That 6th game in the World Series and the final game in the playoffs.
Sorrento not running, and Smith continues to foul it off. Almost simultaneously, the best American League game arguably ever played was game 5 of the California Red Sox series, when the California Angels were 1 strike away from clinching the American League pennant in 5 games.
Henderson hit the home run off Johnny Moore.
That's it. Ruined Moore's career.
Down on strikes again is Bobby Smith. Strikeout number 9 for Leiter. 1 away here in the 6th, and we'll take you back to the new Dodge quiz since we're going back over things. Which current manager was born in France, site of the World Cup that began today in St. Denis, Brazil versus Scotland? Our guest was Bruce Bochy.
A catcher.
Yep. An Army brat.
Doing a good job as manager of the Padres.
When people ask me about the greatest, what was it like to play Game 6 in the World Series, and I say the greatest game I ever played in was the final game, Game 6 in Houston. That 17-inning game, or was it 17, Ralph? Do you remember?
17.
Yep.
Well, the Mets were down.
3-0.
Nepper was pitching.
Bob Nepper.
3-hit shutout.
Lenny Dykstra pinch hit to open the 9th inning.
Davey just shocked me and pinch hit
Shocked
Dykstra
me too.
when he pinch hit him.
Unbelievable.
And he hits a leadoff triple.
Left-hand
Prior
batter.
to this, you and I have never talked about this.
Left-hand batter against the tough left-hand pitcher.
Hanging curveball.
Hanging curve.
Yep.
Lenny went out with one hand and got fooled a little bit, but it wasn't out enough. And that started a whole sequence of things, 3 runs for us to tie it up.
Meanwhile, Leiter keeps buzzing. It's 1 ball and 2 strikes to Mike Kelly, the left fielder.
There's a lot of right-hand hitters in this team that don't like the high fastball. They're not getting around on it. Uppercut swings, which you see more of. You see more, don't you tend the more low ball right-hand hitters?
Yep.
Than ever before?
I think so. 2-2 now to Smith.
I think it's one of the reasons why they do more of that now, right-hand batters on low pitches, is the lighter bat. They can get it through faster.
Were you a high ball hitter, Ralph?
I was basically a high ball hitter, but not when the ball was up in the letters. I took that pitch, even if it was a strike, until I got 2 strikes.
Kelly is jammed. And Edgardo Alfonso squeezes it. There are 2 outs here in the 6th inning.
I think
Leiter's nemesis of the afternoon is coming up, Mike DeFelice.
I think the most important thing in hitting, especially for a power hitter, is to be able to look for a pitch and go to 2 strikes. Get the pitch and not swing.
Okay.
I think the best I ever saw was Ted Williams at waiting for the pitch to hit that he wanted.
Well, that was the big criticism of Williams, was that he would, when he was the main man in the lineup, he would take the walk. He would not swing at the pitch that wasn't what he was looking for.
That is true. But he was so selective with his pitches that he finally got what he wanted, what he was looking for. Most hitters don't have the confidence to go to 2 strikes. And that's why you see so many first ball hitters.
But Ralph, if I hit 400, I wouldn't be afraid to go to 2 strikes.
So.
Last man to hit 400, batted .406 in 1941.
And didn't win the MVP.
Joe DiMaggio had a 46-game hitting streak and one time hit 72 out of 73 games did. But you know, after all the accolades of Ted Williams, what happens? He has a tunnel named after him. Somehow that's distorted.
He also
has got a highway named
yes.
after
Yeah,
him.
well, a highway's different. A tunnel? I mean, come on.
It's a long tunnel.
There goes the runner, and this is fouled off.
I went up there for the dedication of that tunnel.
I was just in San Diego and stayed at a resort up there, Rancho Bernardo, up in the northeast corner. And there was a highway running across, Ted Williams Parkway.
The highway is in San Diego County, and the tunnel is in Boston. 1 ball, 2 strikes. As a matter of fact, the Mets went through that tunnel after playing that series at Fenway. And they go down to Florida after this game this afternoon to play the Marlins in a 4-game set. We'll carry that game on Sunday. We'll be on the air at 4:30. The rare 4:35 starting time down in Florida because of the heat.
Just about the time the thunderstorms start to roll in.
This guy got a tip on a snowstorm or what? Yes. It's kind of high out there, isn't it?
Fastball is high. The throw to second. Out at second base on a brilliant pickup by Carlos Baerga. The throw was low, but the runner was out. Still 2-1 Mets. Back after this from American Airlines.
And welcome back to Shea Stadium here in the bottom of the sixth. Mets leading 2-1. And we're going to show you the attempted steal and the great play by Carlos Baerga and the throw in the dirt from Mike Piazza. In between hop, never an easy play. Makes the tag. Hangs onto the ball. Beautiful. And there's the fans. Look at that. Reminds me when I was a kid, 10, my dad taking me to Candlestick Park to watch all the good left-hand hitters over the third base dugout.
Your dad, John.
Yep.
I believe. Was that not his name?
Yep. Always took us to see the good left-hand hitters and had us got us spot seats over the third base dugout to watch left-hand hitters.
What about Seal Stadium?
Well, that was before my time.
Really?
Yeah, my dad actually played the Mission High School, played a championship high school game there in Seal Stadium. Seal Stadium was demolished when I was born in '53, but didn't get really interested in baseball until around the late '50s.
Carlos Baerga takes a fastball high. The last time up, Baerga hit the hard about a ball that you can hit. You can't hit it any harder. It hit the left foot of the pitcher, Rick White, bounced to the second baseman. Ledesma got a fielder's choice out of it. Here he pops it up. That's 8 in a row now, retired by Rick White. The Mets still with only 1 run in the ball game.
And 1 hit.
Yep.
Right.
I said two runs and 1 hit. I beg your pardon.
We might have been a little bit harsh on Rick White. I mean, he had a horrific first inning, but since the second inning on, he has settled down and pretty much been in command. He had one other tough inning in the third when he got himself in trouble, but he pitched out of it.
Butch Husky, the batter. Butch on a fielder's choice. His last time up, runners on at first and third and 1 out. Butch failed to score. Mike Piazza. And he takes a breaking ball down. He walked with the bases loaded his first time up. That was RBI number 34 on the year for Husky. Breaking ball in there to make that 1-1. Slider is low. 2 balls and a strike. Of course, the San Francisco Giants will be moving to a new home. I believe it's going to be ready next year in the Marina. Either next year or 2000. I think it's next year. Hit hard to right field. This one's got a chance. Back. Gone. Home run. Butch Husky. 3-1 Mets.
Well, Butch finally got a pitch he was looking for after the 2 curveballs.
0-1 to Becker.
First 2 pitches were curveballs, and now the fastball all over the plate, and he is strong.
One and 1 to Rich Becker. You perhaps, you folks who are watching the game today, perhaps have seen those reactions from pitchers like that before. They don't want to see it. Looked to me like Rick White wanted to look, and then that head went back toward the plate. I think he knew it was out, and Husky hit it. 2 balls and a strike now to Becker.
He wanted to get the fastball away, but he got it up in the strike zone.
2-2 to Rich.
So I guess we kind of put the whammy on him. We said he was kind of settled down and gives up a long ball here.
Full count now to Becker. You mentioned it earlier, Keith. The home run ball has been the bugaboo of Rick White this year. Now 4 home runs in 14 innings. Popped up. Bobby Smith hauls it in foul territory. And with 2 outs, a reminder, folks, that today's game is brought to you by Michelob. Smooth, rich tasting Michelob. Beer or Michelob. Nice shot of what you'd see if you were out at the park today. It's just a glorious day to play. Very low humidity, about 75 degrees. Ray Ordonez, the batter. He's grounded out a couple of times, once to second, once to third. Strike 1 to Ray. 3-1 Mets. Butch Husky with his 8th home run of the year. Gives the Mets somewhat of a cushion, and the slider backs up, stays inside. 1-1 to Ordonez. Another grounder, this time to shortstop. So Ordonez is grounded to third, second, and short. But the Mets have a 3-1 lead after 6, thanks to Butch Husky. And we will be back after this from Napa. Bobby Valentine has employed a double switch. As Brian McRae goes in to play center field, Rich Becker's out of the game. McRae will bat 9th, and Wendell will bat 7th. So Turk Wendell takes over for Al Leiter. Leiter was just brilliant today. Struck out 9 in 6 innings and held the Devil Rays to 1 run. Turk Wendell, as you see, 3-0 on the year. And the slider is in there to Mike DeFelice, who was the hitter when Randy Wynn make that. Paul Sorrento was caught trying to steal second base. High, 1-1 to DeFelice. Fouled away, ball and 2 strikes. I was in Larry Rothschild, the manager of the Devil Rays office, guys, before the game today, and the reporters, the written media, were in there, and Larry made the point to say that last night, in last night's game, it was the first double switch in the history of the Devil Rays. Of course, you don't double switch in the American League, but obviously you do in the National League. Try not to let it handle you, but try to handle it. But Larry Rothschild checking his lineup card right now to make sure it is. You cannot be a push button manager and manage in the National League. It's that simple. A lot more difficult with the pitcher hitting. Fastball is high, 2-2 to DeFelice.
And that was all brought about because Dave Martinez got kicked out of the game.
Devil Rays winning that game 5-4. They trail here 3-1, and Wendell gets DeFelice on the slider.
Well, I guess Bobby felt that 117 pitches was enough for Al Leiter. He threw 117 pitches in 6 innings. That's an awful lot of pitches.
And Wendell wants to throw a few more warm-up pitches as the Devil Rays are going to have a pinch hitter, and it's going to be Dave Martinez. Ralph, you were talking about Martinez being ejected last night. Here he is, a pinch hitter.
Veteran ball player, and arguing a strike that was called by the home plate umpire. He thought he had checked his swing, and he was arguing with Hirschbeck Mark Hirschbeck, the umpire behind the home plate, and appealing to him to ask the third base umpire. But Hirschbeck said, no, I called it. And then he was kicked out.
Yeah, once they call it, they can't appeal. You can appeal before the call is made, but once a home plate umpire calls it a strike, you cannot ask for help if you're the hitter. They can't reverse the call, obviously. Well, this is a late call for Dave Martinez. It does not appear that Larry Rothschild had Dave ready in time.
We're going to have Wade Boggs pinch hitting for the pitcher, which is kind of surprising. We said earlier at the top of the show, Tim, that they are very deep in their left-handed bench today, which I would have figured that Dennis Cook would have been in the mix today, coming into middle relief to set it up to John Franco.
That's a very good point. You could bring in Cook in a situation like this to pitch to Martinez, or certainly with Boggs. And if you're going to use these two guys as pinch hitters, why wouldn't you use Boggs first? And then if he got on base, either use Martinez or Fred McGriff. They're trailing by 2, not 1. If Martinez gets on, you have the guy with the lesser power, and Boggs is the better.
You have 2 middlemen back there, too, in Brian Bohannon and Dennis Cook. If one gets in trouble, you can bring in the other, but that's the beauty of the game. It's all time to think about things. And
well, I think that's a very good point. I mean, you know, you do have, as you said, it's 3-0 now to Dave Martinez, but you do have all of your power, your punch, your better hitters from the left side on this ball club. There's a strike, 3-1 now to Martinez.
The beauty of the National League when you have to do all this with no DH.
That looked like a slider. Rick White will be out of there. Disastrous first inning, an inning in which he walked 5, giving up 2 runs. He'll be removed for a pinch hitter here in the top of the 7th inning with the Mets on top, 3-1. And the slider is low, so Martinez is on there, and that'll bring up Wade Boggs. And a nice hand for Boggs. I think the only other time Boggs played in this ballpark was the 1986 World Series.
I think you're right. Yes, that's right. American Leaguer his whole career.
Yeah.
Was he around when the? No, he wasn't around when the Yankees played here the one year.
74 and 5.
Right.
2 years. Yeah. Nothing in 1 to Wade Boggs. Martinez back in time. Boggs representing the potential tying run. Does have 4 home runs this year, batting .276.
That brings up the trivia question. Who is the only Yankee manager to never win a game?